All right, so we open and we're going to try to figure out who gave Heather the why she's not saying anything. I believe Jen was drunk. I believe Jen has it in her. But because Jen has to deal with this federal case, Heather doesn't want to get caught up in it because she's going to have to go to court and take time away from her chilling and her business to testify against Jen Shaw. Who else? Who else? I could see Bravo covering up too because they don't want to be bothered. Nobody want to play in court. So Jen heads to Heather's room where she shows off her shiner. So some of these marks or scratches, some of them look like lipstick. But Heather won't tell us what happened. Tells Jen, I don't want to get anybody in trouble, so I really need you to help me figure out if somebody wants to talk about what happened last night. And she don't. But she already got 10 years in the clink. Why are you going to go to Jen for a cover story? Why? The worst liar in the group. The feds already done figured out fraud, and that's who you're going to go to for a cover story? Girl, you stupid. So then they bring Meredith and show her the shiner. So Heather reveals she knows what happened. She ain't just going to say nothing. Okay, heifer. Over with Whitney and Lisa. Lisa says, so Whitney, how are you feeling about how everything went? Whitney said, I don't care, I'm good. I spoke my piece. But she does think that Meredith is stirring things up and being the puppet master, which she is this season. Her Lisa Vanderpump is showing. Lisa, Meredith holds a grudge because you gave her one to hold. So if I were you, I would take my L and my lump. But oh no, not you. One mistake? Really? You're going to call that 2-minute tirade a one mistake? You said she slept with half of Manhattan and her husband was broke. That was one mistake? Okay, heifer. Well, then you should understand you have to pay for your mistake. So we're all getting ready to see the city, and Heather says, I know we really don't want to talk about what happened last night since Whitney brought up the Komomo. So she goes on and shows everybody her shiner and says, I don't want to talk about it. Then don't show it. So Whitney wants to know what happened because if somebody hit her in the group, that's an issue, and she feels thick that you don't have another juicy plot line to bite into. So we go to Go-karts and Heather rides with Lisa because Lisa only gonna talk about herself and her failing business. Yep, all she talking about is herself and cheap dresses that go for $800 but look like they 80. Jen jumps in with Dana. So everybody else on their ride talking about the eye but Lisa.
Meredith has booked a winery in the afternoon for whoever wants a drink.
So Whitney, Lisa, and Dana go rollerblading. Well, roller skating. And roller skating's harder than blading, apparently. I can do both. At the winery, we have Meredith, Heather, Jen, and Angie. Heather's sick of charcuterie. She wants a meal. So with the rollerblading group, they talking about the eye. Lisa said, I didn't ask. What do you think happened? Whitney says she might have done it to herself. And I saw on Bravo Bros, they said she did have that plant near her door that she could have bumped into. But then why act like somebody in the group did it? For a plot line? Possibly. Whitney said, why would Heather cover it up? I don't think it's so much to protect Jen. I think Heather just don't want to play in court. Would you want to play in court? But now Meredith saying, what happened to Heather was not okay. Heather's like, look, I ain't saying nothing till somebody else says it. So now Heather opens up and says, I would have called Whitney because I can always vent to her and say things that I don't want on camera, but now she's out here blabbing my business, flapping her gums. Oh, goodness, Jen gonna say, well, Whitney and Lisa are bonding because their husbands broke. Lisa has an SEC filing, and I'm sure you know about that.
Now, Meredith says I don't know why they would do crowdfunding because they have to disclose their debt. They've got a lot of debt.
Over with the other girls, Dana says, Meredith out here telling your business, Lisa, going over the numbers of your SEC filings. Lisa says, well, Meredith said family was off limits. Well, guess what? So are businesses, and it's doing fine. So now everybody on the way to dinner, and Angie wants to ask Meredith more about the SEC, too. Angie said, well, are you close enough with Lisa, Meredith, to ask why she would do an SEC filing? Meredith said, I don't care, it ain't my money. So Meredith goes out and pulls out the SEC filing.
I guess now she's engaging.
Angie feels uncomfortable with them talking about Lisa's business while she's not here. Well, I mean, Lisa talked about Meredith's business, so... Angie, you really gonna say Lisa ain't broke just because she has some material things that can be rented? You're a fool. And you don't know your best friend, Jen. So we done all made it to the restaurant, and now we're doing a Greek goddess dinner. So Lisa's still getting dressed for this dinner, and she's going as Helen of Troy 2022. You look like a Jersey hoe from 2002. So Angie tells Lisa, yeah, everybody been talking about your SEC and possible PPP. Angie said, oh, so now y'all supporting Jen's toxic behavior. Well, birds of a feather flock together, but you're giving a pigeon and gall. A fecal bird. The fact that they're talking about John is disgusting, but you felt the need to talk about Meredith's man. But when it happens to you, it's boo-hoo and poo-poo. Jen shows up as Athena, goddess of war, because she's here for battle. You couldn't even fight the Southern District of New York, heifer. So Lisa starts throwing a little attitude at Jen, and Jen's like, what's wrong? Why are you grumpy? Because you're a liar. Oh, we got Zeus and Hercules. They cute, but gay, so I don't know why they're here. So Angie, as the hostess of the dinner, gives the ladies all evil eyes. So Whitney asks, who talked about Lisa's SEC? Lisa said, and why is everyone so worried about my SEC filing?
Meredith said, well, nobody's worried about it.
Did you talk about my business? You talked about hers. I think it's very funny that y'all want to chit-chat about me.
Well, you want to chit-chat about everyone else.
I had one moment in our friendship.
Oh, please.
Lisa says, well, let's ask Angie. Heather says, oh, so Angie told you everything we was talking about on the bus, and that's why you mad, Lisa. Mm-hmm. Angie said, well, it made me uncomfortable because you're talking about Lisa in the car. Meredith said,
well, if you want to question my husband's business.
I didn't question, I just said something in a rant to cause us to question.
Meredith said, well, Lisa, you accused me of calling you mentally ill.
Then we rewind to Meredith saying, Lisa, you need help and professional help. So that is insinuating and implying mental illness. Now Lisa's yelling, you want to sit around and talk mess instead of moving forward. Oh, God, you really don't want to deal with your rant, Lisa. You really just, I'm in awe. But then again, you're a white woman, so I can't be in that much awe because taking responsibility for your actions isn't something you were ever taught. Lisa said, I had a rant.
It was a tirade.
Tomato. Y'all don't like each other, just leave each other alone. So Lisa doesn't want to talk about her family anymore, nor does she want her family talked about and wants to move forward. Whitney says, but how are we going to move forward when we all love each other, but everybody remembers it differently? Child, forget it. Fix it and forget it at your age. Heather gonna say, my eye is a metaphor for our friendships. We don't know how it happened, we just gotta push through. Heather said, look, if anybody does a secret knock on your door, don't answer. You might get slugged for the secret. See, Heather's trying to protect herself, which means she don't want to play in court, so I think it was Jen. But that was the episode, and I'ma see you soon for something.